Hello.
Hello, friends. Welcome to Sunday Connections with Nancy Jean from Nancy Jean's Garden. And welcome to the garden.
Mm-hmm.
Does the garden wait?
We even got the garden, but we put the garden out at sea. I don't know
Yeah.
not much. Is that
Yeah.
the lake near you?
This is a picture of Georgian Bay.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel you're walking on water, or sitting on water, floating on water?
I love water. I grew up on the Great Lakes, so
Yeah. So yes, that is. I thought that the water was better than snow. I could have changed the
yes.
picture. I
Although
thought.
it was 98 last week one day,
Yeah.
and it's gonna be 44 in 2 days in the morning.
Well, it was 20 degrees Celsius, which is about, 78 or 80
Mm-hmm.
degrees
Mm-hmm.
Fahrenheit. And 3 days later, it was zero. Yesterday was
You win.
yeah,
You win.
it's like a toilet seat, really, the up and down situation. So, hi, everyone in the chat. Welcome. Thank you for being here. This is my friend and my tarot teacher, Miss Nancy Jean from Nancy Jean's Garden. Her link is in the description box. Perhaps maybe one of the moderators could be kind enough to post it in the chat. If you're not familiar with Nancy Jean, she does shows on typically on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 2 p.m. Eastern Time. And she does all kinds of things. The garden that she has there now is the Past Life Garden.
Mm-hmm.
She also has the regular garden where she uses crystals in the garden, and it's just amazing. I mean, not only is she a talented tarot reader, look at me, I'm selling all of your wares. She
Good.
also does crystal grids.
Mm-hmm.
She also does eggs, which have. She's going to show you one.
That's the heart chakra,
Yeah,
and this is the throat chakra.
yeah, and
And
they're just beautiful. They're just beautiful. So please do go show my friends some love if you are not already familiar with who Nancy Jean is. Thank you, Anna Banana. Appreciate you, my friend. All right. So if anyone has a question about past life, Nancy Jean's doing all the work, and I'm going to sort of back her up.
mm-hmm.
Pop your questions in the chat. Try to put a capital or put the question in capitals, maybe with an emoji, so that I can pick it out. And we will get started. But while you guys are doing that, Nancy Jean, what's coming up for you, my dear? Do you want anyone to
Tuesday I'm also work with I've been told by my guides that I'm working with elemental energy, whether I like it or not.
Right.
And if you haven't heard that story, come to my channel. I'll tell you all about riding a dragon, going into interspace in the earth, meeting all the elementals that are waiting to come out when we get to 5D. Because when we get to 5D, we'll be able to see them. And elementals, if you don't know it, that's everything from teeny tiny sprites to medium-sized fairies to gnomes to trolls to dragons. And my dragon's name is Cecil, and he's the one who took me there. And he took me through a portal. And weirdly enough, a week later, when someone who knew what my story was, I told her when I was trying to decide if I should go public with this, she said, "You're going to believe what a friend of mine sent me." And a friend of hers had sent her, she said, "I've never painted anything like this before." She painted this beautiful dragon face and then this portal. And
Right.
so I have those. So you can, if you come to my channel, you get to see all the fun stuff. That part, because that has nothing to do with past life. So I didn't bring it. I've been reading past lives for long time, and I can't even really remember because there's like I did it up to this time when I was out doing public readings, and then I've been home and I'm having to think I've been there for 3 years. Yes, there are tools. That's what I was about to explain for the lovely lady.
That's Linda.
That's Linda.
Yeah.
Okay.
Do you want me to stick that up on the screen?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you the first way I used to read.
Do you want me to move your garden into the
Yeah, move my garden into the center. Whoop. No, can you blow it up?
Yep.
And now put it on your face.
Come on. Go there. There you go.
Yay. Okay. Yes, if you have a deck of tarot cards, you can read a past life. And this is what happened was years ago, I was playing, there's a reading called a Spirit Seven, which is, who is this person?
Yeah.
And I was looking at it and I realized what it was telling me is who this person is now and who they had been. And I'll show you how to do that.
I just want to say that I think that Nancy Jean is like the most awesome tarot teacher. You know, I'm slightly biased, but I'm just saying.
Well, you were a good student and you were well on your way to learning it all anyway.
Thank you, my friend.
So this is what used to be called the Spirit Seven. And I guess I'll read it. This is about you, the lady who asked the question.
Yeah.
Okay. This was your past life. These three cards tell the story that's the center to what this past life is in your life now. These three cards are where you are in this life, how you've come in, what's going on, and what you're doing about it. And this card is the one that will change the most, and that is where you are with that energy. Now, I was years ahead of the youngins that do the he, she, he, him, she, her, and they, them. Okay, so because I believe your sexual nature, because we define it in certain ways, doesn't make it right, and that certain kinds of assertiveness and putting yourself out there would appear more masculine in the cards, even if you're a girl. Okay, now what it says is in a past life, you moved around a lot, and because you got the Chariot, and you spent a lot of time escaping from things. So I think you lived in a time of war because your Seven of coins is upside down. You never got a chance to plant roots, become stable, to understand who you were. So you carry that vibration in, that instability. And I think somehow or another, I think this life, your childhood, reflected the same thing. And you moved around a lot, and or things were unstable in your world. And because of that, you totally abandoned your psychic powers. You knew you had them and you walked away from them. And now you're learning how to balance that back into your life. And you realize the psychic powers aren't going to cause you to be unstable. The psychic powers are going to cause you to become a very stable, in the center, trusted person in this world. That's how I would interpret this. And then when I do a full past life reading, we kind of look at this, and I would concentrate on these three cards. I would try to see, actually, I see this is kind of World War I, World War II time. This is in Europe when it was in that chaos. And I would pull out a different deck that I have, and I do a long reading on the person who could never plant roots. And then we'd look at their life, and then we'd learn the lesson and how you can implement it into your life now. That's the fastest way I know. When I used to work table and do table readings, I do people's past lives all the time. Yeah. And what's amazing about past lives, and this is what convinced me that it really does work, is I'm
going to put you in the hot seat for a second. Hold on. Here you go.
Okay. What convinced me that that particular reading, the Spirit Seven, worked, and then I expanded it to this other reading I do where I take the first line is your early life, the second line you take whatever's on that fourth card becomes the question for the next line, and you do 4 lines of those, and you see what that person's life was really like. Now, I did a whole demonstration on my channel over a year ago, and I said, this is the one where I didn't know who I was reading. I just said, I'm just going to read someone blind. Yeah. And I said, so this person had come in, born in with great power, and then at the end was totally betrayed and lost everything. So then when I laid the cards out, it showed that it had been a woman, and it showed all the trials that her life had gone through. And I said, I don't know who this is, but you had a very powerful past life, and you're beginning to come to terms with that and learn how to live with it. So about a week after I did that show, I got an email from a woman who said, you read my past life. And I was like, no offense, guys, but everyone who's in the chat today is totally sane. but sometimes there are people who are not. And so I was very cautious about letting her in. And she and I, so finally I said, I need to talk to you.
Yeah.
And she said, okay. We talked. She told me who she thought she was, and she was the last queen of Hawaii.
Wow.
And then she told me her whole life story. She was born in Ohio. She grew up kind of regular middle class, didn't really finish college, always wanted to be a court reporter, ended up right as her kids got old enough, she got a court reporter. Anyway, through all of that, she ended up working with indigenous people. And the first time she met some of the shamans at the first tribe she worked with in the Dakotas, he said, you were very high born. You're supposed to be with us. And she was like, what? And then she ended up going to Hawaii, and she was walking through the palace, and she understood all of the language that the people, all the words.
Right.
And she thought, I'm nuts. How can I know this stuff? And then she was told later when she went with the tribes again, they said, you've been to where you were. And then she started putting it together. So I had another show with her, which you can go back if you look through. I need to put my shows kind of together better, but you can go back and find her. And we read, I read her, and we went through, we relayed out the cards because I had the previous video. And she was Queen Kamehameha, I think was her name. And she did die totally until the day she was really cut off from her people completely. She kept thinking going along with the white man was going to be the best way. So now she negotiates for the tribes because she knows it's not the best way. So
I love that. That's such an interesting story.
mm-hmm.
And I've been I guess a volunteer for Nancy Jean to read the past life readings and both on the garden, which is what you see in front of you, and then also for the cards. And I just want to say that I'm not trying to sell what Nancy Jean does, and I'm not, but I am singing her praises. In terms of my anxiety panic disorder, she was able to uncover some things in both instances with the garden as well as the cards that really made sense to me in my life as to why I do certain things or why I feel or react certain ways. And I can't express to you the amount of relief that I felt knowing that this was not something that I imagined or that I was doing because there was something wrong with me. Maybe my wires weren't connected properly. This was something that was coming through in my past life, something that I have dealt with prior to. And I just felt better knowing it. And so it's, in that respect, it's also very interesting, that you can find patterns of behaviors and so forth.
And it's always much easier to know who you are now if you know who you were. It's just like if you can look realistically at what formed you in this life. Just think of the stuff you bring in. And the way I was trained by the astrologer who taught me about past lives is you can carry in 3 or 4.
Right.
Oh, thank you.
That's Ivana, intuitive, and she's lovely. And I just want to say, I don't want to interrupt you, but Linda says, oh my God, you are fantastic and spot on so far. I pulled 2 cards for you too, Linda. Okay. I've got the Goddess of Dreams. So picking up on what Nancy Jean got, vision, intuition. So obviously the psychic ability, the connection to spirit. And then interestingly, I've got wisdom. Such a pretty picture. This is, have you ever been told that you're wise beyond your years? Now is the time to call upon your inner fairy wisdom to help you with a challenge. And so, tapping into your inner wisdom, your intuition. So Nancy said that in a reading, and I got that twice, which is just really interesting. We have so many questions.
Well, you go up and start highlighting them, and I'm going to do a quick trip on how to use the board. Now, I did not
pull you back into the spot there. I'm going to highlight the comment and stick you back in the middle of the screen. There we go.
Okay, this was actually designed by Alma, who designed my garden too. but she was fascinated with what I did with past lives. So in this garden, it's just like mine. I have 5 crystals in mine. She has 4. There's a clear quartz for clarity. There's a citrine for what is the thing that's going to bring you the most gain, or you can benefit from the most. And then there's 2 ancestor stones. The first one is this little bitty one. That's amber, and she has a very good source. This is real amber from the Baltic Ocean, and it's really, really good. And this is petrified wood that got involved. It's got color in it too. But when you can look at this, you can kind of almost see the grain of the wood in it. When you can look at it yourself, you can see the grain of the wood in it. And amber and petrified wood are both ancestor stones because they were both alive at one time. One was a sap and one was a tree. And these are crystals. I think crystals are alive anyway, guys, because I'm a little bit crazy. But I think, these will tell you the tale too. So if you wanted to use the garden, I'd go.
I want everyone to pay attention to how Nancy Jean uses her pendulum, because most people don't use the pendulum like Nancy Jean. And I've said many times, when I use my pendulum, I do it the way Nancy Jean taught me, which is that way. Just as a footnote.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to ask if you were male or female. And you think you're female because it swings further out. The male's only coming back here. That's how I can tell male from female. Now, and okay, we're going to ask for clarification. For this female, what can you tell me about the setup of her life? And okay, she was an Aquarian. She had a lot of free will, which you really don't find very often. Now that's the clarity doesn't usually end up there. She embraced the life she had, and she worked at freeing people. I almost feel like she was a suffragette.
Interesting.
And okay, now we're going to see what can the stones tell me about her family? Ooh. She was the younger one in the family, and whoever this is, you've actually met. You're a descendant. You've met people that you were descended from that family, but it's not the family of your origin, which is kind of interesting. Mm-hmm. And you now work in a way that helps people. She worked in a way to help people gain and help people move forward. Then you can, to point out how to, this chain was made this broad so it could swing over the whole thing. And tell me the major characteristic of this person. If I was working with somebody and I was concentrating on a given person's information, it was that she may be in genealogy now. She may help people find their ancestors now, because this person always tried to deal the best from their ancestors. But in the life that I was looking at for them, they'd broken the mold and gotten out. As you can tell, a past life reading isn't something you're going to do in 5 minutes.
No.
If you really want to understand and feel that underlying energy, you need to do more than that.
Absolutely. I just want to take a quick moment and say to the moderators that there have been some people going around to the different channels today. So if the moderators could keep their wits about them and keep us all safe from the trolls, I would appreciate it. I did put on the subscribers only mode for like 5 minutes, which sort of sometimes helps. Want to just say a quick shout out. Thank you everyone for being here. This is my friend Nancy Jean from Nancy Jean's Garden. Moderators will be putting her link in the chat. So if you're not already subscribed, you can. Linda says, I love Nancy's knowledge of crystals. I have learned a lot about them. I feel the energies in the crystals and the stones. All right. So here we go with our first question. You ready, my friend?
Yep.
All right. And I do want to say that Nancy Jean has already been on with Scott Spiritual Essence for like 2.5 hours this morning. So we're so grateful that you that you're here with us. Thank you, my friend. All right, let's.
This is a giant cup of coffee, guys.
her coffee on steroids.
Mhm. Okay, where are we going?
I think that we're gonna sort of pause the questions for now. I also wanted to say we have 12.
Okay.
So if we have time for more, we will of course take some.
Yeah, and if you guys really, I mean, I know past lives fascinates people. And I'm going to do G. Covington, past life reading. I'm going to do the card one, the load card one. I will probably in the next 2 weeks do another show showing a complete past life reading. So,
yeah.
you can contact me.
Do you do past life readings? Like if people
I
want
do,
to
yeah,
reach out to private
oh,
one?
yeah. Yeah, and I've done one where we got 3 past lives in that session, and we figured out that they were all linked together. So
awesome. So Nancy,
and I can say a lot more. I tell you what, since I'm talking to a chat room thing, there are things I see in past life readings that you probably would not want me to talk about.
Right. So Nancy Jean has a website, and I'll add that to the description box below the video. You guys can contact Nancy Jean if you're interested in booking a personal past life reading. Mama Bear, yes, I did see your question, love. Thank you.
Okay. This is where you were. You're another one who's been, you know why I think these people are showing up? Because so many people in the world are in the situation of a refugee, going from something horrible, hoping for something better. You were the male in the family. You could never get settled. You were always on the run, and you were never allowed to acknowledge your power. You also came in with the Page of Cups, meaning as a small child, you were discounted, discredited, and not listened to. But you've kind of pulled yourself out of that somewhat. You've quit crying over spilt milk and all the things that didn't work, and you're seeing yourself what can work, but you haven't developed the strength you need to move forward with that right now. And so that's why you always walk in the room and think, oh, nobody's going to talk to me if you go to parties and stuff. That's not true. That's just because of what happened here. And in a way, you're making up for. This guy was in part responsible for why he was on the run all the time. So you're making up for that past debt. But I'm going to see about gaining your strength. Okay. Oh, okay. 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 You're going to get your strength by not always expecting everything to be fair and just. Just understand that's the truth. And you're going to cut out a lot of the crap in your life. You have a woman friend you're close to who's really good at handling situations. And she's going to teach you how to invest yourself so you can move forward with this. And you should be able to do this with this. And then, oh my God, if you do this, if you get past this block, the world is your oyster. The world is literally your oyster. Beautiful. And you're going to meet the people that you need to meet to create a better life. So I hope that helps, G. Covington. Go talk to your wise friend who tells you that the world isn't a fair. You know, in Texas, we have a state fair and it's just finished. And in Texas, we always say the only thing that's fair in Texas is the month of October.
Yeah. G. Covington, I hope that you can see this because I'm going to, if I have to keep moving things around, I will screw it up. Here we go, real quick. Dark thoughts, right? Nancy Jean was picking up on that.
Yeah, she says we are correct.
Yeah, this is karmic lessons. But you have guides, past life guides that are assisting you. It's complicated and there are conclusions. And literally, I pulled this out when Nancy Jean was saying about, you know, sort of like the world can be your oyster if you can get past this block. I feel like, you know, sometimes we have a tendency to focus on the outcome, not on the present moment. And so I would say try to focus on the present moment and not so much on the outcome. And that might help bring that block down just a little bit. I hope that helps. Thank you very much for your question. G. Covington.
Who's next?
Mama Bear is up next. I'm putting her up on the screen, and I will get the pass there. Look at that. Can't believe I did that all in one click.
I know. I've gotten really good at that, because one of the reasons I put my table, and in order to run my table on my channel, I have to do a second feed through my other phone.
Right.
You guys have no idea what it takes to get all this together. Okay. Oh, Mama Bear. Mama Bear, do you like the cold? And you are psychic as hell. This is this past life, and in this past life, you lived in a very cold place. When I saw that card come up, I wasn't like, I know what the Nine of Swords means, but you were in a very, very, very cold place, and you were a woman, and you felt very, very abandoned, because it's the Middle Ages and it's during the plagues and stuff, and you're a woman who felt very abandoned, and you ended up being part of the formal church. And I think in this life, at one point, you were very much part of a formal church, because and you tried to find refuge there, but you were brought into this life to change, to completely change, transition, begin a whole new sense of self and life, and to not be on the run anymore. This one was on the run. Now you're not on the run anymore. And I think when you were in the Catholic Church in the Middle Ages, your psychic powers were downplayed. You were told you shouldn't have them. And now you're just emerging into having them, and you're finding out it's a great and wonderful place. And so in a past life, I see you in the Middle Ages, in the cold, in the plague, and finally being taken in by the church. And now you're finding the new understanding of yourself by transitioning away from hard and fast beliefs where you take what someone else tells you to do. You are your own person, and you don't have to run anymore. And I think you're probably finding the ascension really quick, because you know how to get there.
Mama Bear says, wow. Kiba, I started you, but the questions were sort of close, but I'll put you in there, hon, and we'll see if we can get to you, okay?
We'll see how long I can stand up, because
yes.
I don't want to create my own past life today by
Mama Bear, this is what I got for you, which is really interesting. So Nancy Jean said, first of all, that you are psychic as you know what? I got divine presence, master number 44. You know, why not? The message on, I mean, it's a beautiful image. The message on the bottom of the card, the force of love and creation. Then I got commitment, and I sort of feel like this is your commitment, as Nancy Jean was saying, that you sort of it came back changed, right? That they have like a new sort of like you're on a new sort of mission, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got the relaxation card, so happy times, peaceful pursuits. And it's interesting because when you asked her, does she like the cold? She says, sometimes I do, but I like summer. So to me, that's you doing you're just kind of chilling.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And we've got wise leader. You are a beacon for others, which ties into the presence.
High Priestess is going to be for you. You're going to become a person that you need to start, if you're not studying and working with the energies we talk about, just pick a discipline. I mean, don't be like me. I do everything. I mean, and I don't do any of them all that well. But
yeah, she says, whenever I have went into a Catholic church, I'm always amazed on how it looks inside, but I'm also against the church.
Yeah, well, you have good memories of what they were to you, but they just don't protect us anymore.
Thank you, Mika. That's very kind. And Kiba, no worries, love. We'll try to get to you. Absolutely. All right. Up next is Miss Lisa Rhodes. I will put you back in the hot seat, Nancy Jean, or the garden back in the Nancy in the hot seat. Good grief. Words, Kelly. Words.
This is really easy. No, I can't. I don't deal with future lives.
Okay. Next question is from Linda, we already did that because that was the first one we did. Next one is Mika. How is my late sister doing? Mika, can you give us your sister's first name, please, if you don't mind? Just her first name, not the whole name, just the first name.
I didn't anticipate getting a past life question. I'm going to use a deck I use to look at when people are on the other side, because I am not a medium. Well, I am, but I don't. It's very reluctant.
Right.
So I found if I use James Van Prague's Talking to Heaven and pull a card, it will tell you kind of what you need to know.
Yeah. Her sister's first name is Sarah.
Okay. Sarah now. Oh, life is a series of choices. Choose love. And this says life is the true nature of your soul. By making choices from love instead of fear, you're saying yes to God. I think one of the things you and your sister shared was a lot of fear. I remember in life when I would let other people's opinion of me define who I was. I never was good enough to be accepted. It was because I was living in fear. But now I know how much more powerful love is. By making the right choices, you welcome abundance into every aspect of your life. I want nothing more for you than for you to be happy. So, with every choice you make, stay true to your nature, choose love. Fear separates, love unites. From over here, I will try to remind you to always attempt to see the love in what you do. By the way you live your life, you will be happier and make the world a better place.
You know what?
What your sister
That's
said.
a beautiful, beautiful card. Nancy Jean Mary Hansen says, I married at the little chapel in the woods at TWU.
Oh,
cool. Hopefully that you can see this, Mika, and thank you for what you said before. That's very kind. You said every time she's with me, she feels like she's with family, which is very sweet.
That's good.
This is from the Chakra Insight card, and so this is just a beautiful image, right? Look at the hands and the beam of light. Mm-hmm. So this is from the third eye chakra. This is about having faith.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hope, support, miracles, and spirituality is what that card says. And then I went to the Angels of Atlantis because I seen my good friend Ivana using those cards, and I thought, you know what? I really like those. Mm-hmm. Nancy Jean kept saying, love everybody and be loved and sort of embrace yourself in that feeling. And I literally pulled from Archangel, I can't read backwards, Zafriel, romance. Mm-hmm. Being embraced by that feeling of love. And then I've got from the Archangel Sandalphon, intention. So setting pure intentions, right? Having faith in yourself and having hope and developing that spirituality, I think is going to allow you to have a more open heart and sort of attract that stuff to you, if that makes sense. Thank you very much for your question. She wanted to know if she had a past life. Could we just do the pendulum and ask if she was male or female or whatever? And
Mika? Okay, yeah. Mika? Okay.
I'll put that up on the screen. Mika, male?
You were female, and I'm going to cast stones in. Okay, what's the basis of? If you want to get the Oracle Garden, you can contact me. I'll tell you how to get one. Alma actually lives in Florida, and she's got a bunch of them made there. So,
female in the 1600s. No. Female in the 1700s.
Oh yeah.
Female in the 1700s.
Yeah, it was being female was all important to you, and it's everything that enlightened you in this life. You were very, very enlightened. You knew how things ought to be, but it was made very clear to you very young that you could not have. to live with lack, to start with things from lack.
I got that you were a female in the 1700s.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't narrow it down any closer.
Well, having these land on her being female, this is like you were very, very tied to the family tree with the petrified wood, but your clarity came out of living through the experience of being a female, and you eventually, your soul chose to be enlightened, but your clarity in your life was limited.
Yeah, intuition and manifestation is what I pulled.
Mm-hmm.
Got a whole lot of people that are really quite connected and trying to explore that whole journey. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
You can almost feel the room vibrating, can you not?
Yeah.
Love it. All right, Miss Ingla is up on board. What did I do in ancient Egypt? What a cool question. Thank you, Ingla.
Yeah, Engla and I know about this. Engla, I know, was in ancient Egypt. In fact, she came to one of my past life shows. That's when.
I'm putting this up for Oil Painter. It's Angels of Atlantis. That's what it's called.
Okay, let's see.
I can text it to you, Diana.
Who were you in ancient Egypt? Oh, you're a priest. You were a priest, and you had the world, and you were connected to everybody. You were very, very, very powerful, and you were able to achieve almost every goal you wanted, but you had one child, and that child, you invested a great deal of time and energy in that child, and you were very disappointed in how they turned out. They did not stay on the balanced path. You were very, very disciplined. You were, and I mean, you were like a priest at a temple, and I think your kid barely made it out of being a scribe, and that always hurt you. You always felt like they didn't live up to their potential. And what it really was is you were trying to make them do something they didn't want to do.
Yep.
So
I've got a great achievement. So that would
you were on top of it there, kid.
Yeah. And then I've got behind a mask. So that's the kid, your child, not living up to even their own potential, possibly. Well, that's super interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Well, the deal of when you do what daddy or mommy did is what you do. And
yeah.
And that never works. Terrible. No. Not even in this lifetime.
True. Very true. All right. We have Miss Anna Banana up next. What past life is impacting me most right now?
Okay. Let's start with the garden.
Thanks everyone for being here. This is Nancy Jean from Nancy Jean Garden, or Nancy Jean's Garden. Sorry.
You were younger in that life, and something happened to you when you were younger. Can you show me what happened, or do I need to throw stones? Okay. That didn't tell me much. So we're going to try it this way. What happened to them when they were younger that affected life so much? Ooh. You're getting clarity in this life. And I saw that you were younger, but when I swung it around and said what was causing the problem in that life, I couldn't figure it out because it was swinging equally across male and female. You were bisexual in a culture that didn't approve of it. And so part of your life is you enjoy being a female, but you feel rooted somehow in the male part of your family. The soul path shows that comes out of that, and it's where you've invested your values.
Wow.
So, Anna, that means that in this life, you've hung on to more of the masculine assertive energies, but in that life, when you were younger, you lived a very confused life. So Yeah, and it's complicated. I really would want to do a longer reading and use my other deck, the Luna Soul, to
Yeah,
figure out, because you got some.
she does an amazing past life reading with her Luna Soul. I feel like I'm singing all her praises, but it's not without merit because, well, I'm a little biased. I'm just gonna say, because Nancy Jude's my teacher.
Mhm.
Anna, this is what I got for you. I've got the loving woman. That's just, I mean, look at the picture, right? She's sitting on
Yeah.
the ground, surrounded by the beautiful puppy and the flowers, and in the forest. So the loving woman part that Nancy Jean was picking up on, we've got creation, which is soul expression, trying something new.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe that the soul expression is what Nancy Jean was talking to you about in her reading that came through, that you weren't really sure, you know, were you wanting to be a man or were you wanting to be a woman. That's what I'm totally getting off of that. And then, just as an interesting footnote, I've got the warrior that came out for you.
I can tell you, living my life, I could be that lovely lady sitting playing with puppies and just enjoying the crap out of everything. But you get me in the wrong frame of mind, and I'll come after you with everything I've got.
Right. And then I've
Right.
got Archangel Metatron with mercy.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels very complex, very complicated, and very much like a walking tightrope kind of energy to me. That particular past life, and how it's impacted your current life,
And
right?
it, by being confused in that, I'll tell you what happened. The reason it says you died when you were younger because of how society viewed when you couldn't fit yourself in everybody else's niche. Um, so I would say that you when you get in those confused states, it may throw you back to when you died. I had a past life regression with Brian Weiss when I went to his thing, and in it there was a woman who had helped a bunch of people, and it was the last day of her life, and she was running, and she was in ancient China, which is probably why I don't like China much. And I mean, just I've never wanted to go there, nothing, you know. And I remember cowering in this alley and knowing that the very people I had helped get to where they were going were coming to kill me because they knew I knew. They knew I understood. And that
Wow.
explained a whole lot about how some of my political campaigns ended up. And once I
Yeah.
got that said, I went, okay, I'm not afraid of it. I'm not that lady at the end of the alley who's going to get switched. How's my past life influencing my current life?
Yeah.
What?
And Inglis says, "Thank you, Nancy and Kelly. Priests looked stars feel spot on."
Right. Not only that, Angela, I think you were in touch with the ETs that were building things there. So, yeah, I think you were a man.
Yeah.
Monique, past life. Whoa.
Whoa. We got jumpers, friends.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had one that just flew out and said, no, you're starting with this one. In the past life, you couldn't complete anything, and it didn't really bother you. And finally, you just said, F it all, and threw everything down and gave up. Okay. In this life, you've picked things that were hard battles to win because you like the challenge. You've never been paid what you were worth, but you are capable. You are okay. Past life, did it wrong. In the past life, you took the easiest way out. You never took any challenges. You probably spent all your money, and you had a great deal of trouble making decisions. Now, in this life, you came in in this past life, you finished nothing. You didn't get anything done. So you came in with that debt, and you fought off a lot of depression. I think you've had depression and anxiety going into situations because you knew you had to get to completion with them, and you're not finished with that ride yet. But you have the strength to do it, to get past those challenges. But that's how it affected you. You just always took the easiest way out, and in this life, you're not being given any of those things the easy way out. What you got, kiddo?
Okay.
Nothing.
Yeah, absolutely, of course. That's the way it goes. I've got the travel card, and I sort of feel like that's, constantly moving, constantly hopping. And I don't mean that you're literally moving in this life. I think this is the past life, right? Because nothing was really working out for you. So you would constantly pack up and move on. I also got the cycles card, which is sort of mimicking that, right? Then I've got this beautiful card from the Fairies of the Oracle, and we've got light, just gorgeous image. And I'll read the message to you. The Fairy Queen of Light comes to shed love and light onto your current situation, and to remind you that light can penetrate the darkness. So picking up on the thoughts that you were sort of picking up, right? And then I've got great gratitude, right?
I think every time something works out for you, you're doing handsprings.
Yeah. This expression of gratitude is the ticket to lifting yourself up to a more sort of joyful, happiness, peaceful sort of feeling within you, a sense of contentment, shall we call it. That's the ticket, I think, personally, for you. Thank you so much for your question, Monique, and thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. So Gina, any messages for me, please? Did we already do Gina's? I think we already did Gina's. Did we already do you, Gina?
No, I don't remember that.
I'll be all right. She says, wow, thanks so much. It makes so much sense. Thank you.
Okay, Gina. Right. Let's see. I'm going to get you a quick right now message. Get you 3 cards. Okay, something you wanted very dearly in the near past is just, you kind of realized it's not going to happen. So you're just hanging out there, trying to decide what to do next. And what you really need to look at in the future is that you can't control everything. And part of why this didn't work was because you wanted to control everything. That's kind of where you are right now.
That's super interesting. I've got the, I don't know why this card keeps coming out. I've got It's Complicated. I've got the solar plexus chakra from Inner Child. Okay. Top of this card is playfulness, lightheartedness, innocence, and wonder. And the third card that I got is you are protected by the angels. Okay. You are cherished by the angels is what it says on the bottom. And so I feel like, I don't know. Do you not? I feel like you need to let loose. I think you need to let your hair down and just kind of, just kind of allow yourself to get into that moment of that innocence, that wonder. You know what I mean? Literally doing this, literally just jumping around. You know what I mean? Maybe lay down on a blanket and look up at the clouds and sort of, allow yourself to imagine the images that you see. I feel like you just need to chill out. And I don't like saying that to people because I know how it used to make me feel when people would say, well, you just need to relax. And I'm like, it's not like that.
No, and it's not like that for her. The thing is that, perhaps if you just stayed, if everything had fallen the way you wanted it to, you wouldn't have learned the lesson you're learning now about standing back, observing, and figuring out how to move forward.
Yeah.
You
So
know, I mean,
maybe that's the innocence, right? Looking at
mhm.
the picture from above instead of the whole picture. You know what I mean? So because sometimes that's confusing when you try to like what I'm going to do over the next 5 years instead of just sort of like what's right in front of you, right? Sometimes if you elevate yourself and look down on a situation, you have a better insight. If that
Or
makes
ask
sense.
your guides to show you a mirror.
That's an interesting concept, Nancy Jean. I love that.
Yeah, if they tell them, well, I was told a long time ago by my same astrologer that taught me how to do past lives. She said, when you meet someone and they just disturb you intensely and you can't stand their lion face in front of you and you just want to punch them out, she said, you got a good just got a good look at your dark side.
Wow.
So, okay, Carmilla.
Crazy. Carmilla says, "Hi, Nancy Jean. Would you be able to give me a past life reading?"
Yes.
Thank you, Carmilla, for being here.
Yeah, Carmilla's a true believer. She's been around since my channel almost started.
I think I recognize her name from visiting.
She shows up in the Oracle Garden shows too. Things.
Oh, okay. Then I know who Carmilla is. Hi,
Mhm.
Carmilla. Thank you for being here.
Okay. I think we're going back to the Middle Ages again. Okay. Past life got you nowhere. Fought. Yeah, you were fighting. You fought through the whole nastiness. You kept trying to build a way to hold things securely, but in the time you were in, and I'm going back to seeing the time of the plague, there's no way to build a sure thing. You had to be ready to pick up and go at a moment's notice, and it got you nowhere. Every time you start to get something going, it would stop. And you came into this life saying, I'm going to make better choices. Now, a lot of the choices you had to make were forced by the environment around you, but you came in with a better understanding of how to view the choices and which ones to make. But you haven't made any of your goals that you really, really have a heartfelt connection to. And in a way, you're looking at it and you're saying, okay, I'm getting out of this. And you're doing exactly what we said to someone earlier. You're opening yourself up to your more childlike self.
Yep.
No,
you know what?
She has a comment. Do we really know who anyone really is? No, not even ourselves. So we only get glimpses. It's like looking at the world through a crystal and you just get the prism effect.
It's so awesome working with Nancy Jean. I cannot express that, not that anyone wants to hear it, and I'm not trying to embarrass Nancy Jean, but I so enjoy when I get to spend time with her because whatever this is that we do, whatever this is that we have when we're together, it's an amazing feeling for me. So thank you for
Canadian
for me personally.
If my parents hadn't run the border, I'd be Canadian too.
There you go. I've got attachment, longing, trying to make that thing, trying to understand whatever it is that thing is, right? It also says desperation. When you try to do something or fix something or make something happen and you keep like feeling like you're hitting a wall, you can start to feel slightly desperate, right? I also got, again, elves, playfulness, tapping into that innocence, that inner child sort of awe and wonder. And then I've got navigating by the stars, follow your bliss. So I feel very much like you're still on a journey. You're still trying to find your happy. And, there's lots of things that you can do to inject a little more happy into your life while you're trying to find your happy place, if that makes sense. You can turn on the stereo, for example, and dance around the living room. You can go outside and allow yourself just to sort of breathe in and take in all of the living energies that are around you, right? The birds, the trees, the insects, the chipmunks, like all of that. And just feel all the power that's around you. That should pick up your spirits almost immediately, right? Take a cleansing bath. Lots of things that you can try to do for yourself to pick up your happy while you're trying to find your happy place, if that makes sense. So Carmela says, you're right. I'm holding back on so many things. G. Covington says, seems like we are all running in past lives. Maybe that's why we are in this community. That's a really good point. And then Carmela says, that's when I give up. I'm feeding the birds daily.
Good.
That's what Carmela says. That's excellent. All right. Next up,
I have a comment to make to G.
Yep.
Covington.
Yep.
I think the fact that so many of us ran away or didn't complete in past lives is why we chose to come during the ascension, when humanity changes again. And, we're the ones that have been through the hard knocks. We know that our souls can make it. And that's why we're all here. And you're right. And that sense, I had, for much of my life, I had dreams of, I was either running away and I didn't know what I was even running from, or I was trapped in a structure that I couldn't get out of. And I've come to learn that in my dream paths, whenever I'm trapped in a structure, that means I'm trapped in my ego. And I still don't know what the hell I was running away from, but I still do it. And, although I like running now, I always ask to dream about my elementals, and they're kind of fun.
I think you're running after your dragon.
No, Cecil comes to me. I don't think I could outrun Cecil. I don't think I could run him down.
Well, no, not run him down, but run towards him. I think
that's true. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Marie Henson, she says, I now think I was born early to sort of protect me, like sort of to protect herself.
Mm-hmm.
Which is interesting. So I guess we'll just toss some cards or see what we get on that. That's a really interesting question, Marie. Carmela says, or wishing to go home, to your true home. Yeah, that's what I mean. Like your happy place, right? The place where you feel the most yourself.
Yeah, and feel it. Don't think it. Don't think I should be here. Feel I should be here.
That's excellent words of wisdom there from Nancy Jean. Absolutely.
No, you weren't born too early to protect yourself. The reason you were born early is because the seeds for your coming were not planted well. Wherever you landed, you didn't have to run so much. It was not a fair place. You're right about that. But you didn't grow up with any illusions about the fact that much of what you were being told was wrong. And your out card in this scenario is you have learned to choose your heart over your head. So that's what you need to do. But I don't think you were born too early. I'm adopted.
Yeah.
That there's so much about, kids that are adopted or kids that have parentage that isn't the one they thought they had.
This is super interesting what I've got.
What?
I've got valiant courage.
Mm-hmm.
Right? There you are on top of your horse with your flag out. Take action with passion. Having valiant courage, taking action with passion. Then I've got this great achievement.
Mm-hmm.
And then I've got magical blessings. Cool. This is just a beautiful image. The message on this card says, whatever you're going through, you're being assisted by magical fairy blessings. The fairies say you can bless others too. I feel like, and I don't know anything about your life, Marie Henson, I'm going out on an edge here, but I feel like, you were adopted and your question was I born too early to protect myself? I feel like you were adopted, and that is the magical blessing, right? That is the achievement in a way. being adopted by the family that you were adopted by, or going through whatever that experience was for you. And it has been like an expression of courage of sorts that you have been able to navigate through that experience. Because, you know, when you're adopted, oftentimes you figure like you don't know who you really are. And that brings forward a whole host of questions that most people don't have to deal with. Do you know what I mean? That takes a lot of guts, I think, to sort of put that stuff aside and just go for it.
Marie says further on, yes, she explains her bio mom was 42 and drank. Yeah. If you got out of that womb before she could kill you with that, and it gave you the smarts because it was going after your smarts. And the doctors, I don't know if they induced her birth or just, I mean, but if you had stayed there full term, you're right, you probably would have died. Big points for self-will, kid.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Making it through. You know, I believe souls enter the bodies the day that they take their first real breath. But I think you were on the inside doing your deep breathing exercises before you got here.
Right? That's beautiful, really, when you think about it. All right. We will do Kibas and oil painters, and then we're all done. Thank you, everyone, for hanging out with us. So this is Kiba. Kiba says, please tell me about my past life.
Marie, you were a 2-pounder. I thought I had the world's smallest baby when I had my youngest was 4.5 pounds and was also just a little past 7 months. But he ended up growing up to be 6'5". So
nice. Oh, you're still here.
What are we doing? Kiba.
This is Kiba.
Kiba. Is that Kiba's portrait in the picture?
Yes.
Okay. That's a beautiful picture.
Is it not?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I love it. Kiba, oh, I don't know. Whenever I toss cards for Kiba, I just sort of feel like warm all over. I don't know why. It's funny how you read for different people, and sometimes you get feelings, and sometimes you don't. And just,
okay.
What you got, Nancy Jean?
Okay, in a past life, you tried to connect people, but you had a very strong mother in your past life, and she raised you to be a very strong woman, and you created a happy family no matter what got thrown in your way, no matter what kind of discontent. And in this life, you came in, you know, where things ought to be. You know, you're here to help take names, you know, and you're not quite finished with where you need to get to do this. You're waiting for the last final offer, but your whole life is about justice and judgment, and clearing up what happened. That was, you lived a happy life, but I'm going to see what this was. I think your parents weren't. Yeah. Your parent, either one or both of the parents in that life didn't live very long, and you were a little kid left on your own. So you came into this life saying, I'm going to create a path that I can control and have justice over it. Even despite that, you got taken in by a strong family group, and they raised a strong woman. So you can't, but the problem was whatever was in their marriage, you came out and then they were gone and you had no money. You didn't have the resources. And actually, quite honestly, Kiba, I think it was, you found the mothers again that you had in that life. You were in the early days of slavery, like the 1600s. Okay.
These are beautiful cards. Kiba says, thank you, Nancy. Kelly, it's my graduation photo. And then she said, yes, I do have 2 strong ladies that raised me, my late grandma, and her mom is Marcia Green.
Oh, okay.
So she's also, I don't know if she's here in the chat today, but she's also on YouTube.
Well, I'm getting told by my guide. My guide's name is Addie, and she was a slave that came over on one of the original slave ships in the early days of this country. And Addie says she knew your family back then.
Wow.
And that you're carrying forward the strength. I actually have met, weirdly enough, a woman who was a descendant of Addie in the last corporal life she had here. She looks just like her. And it's a woman I read for about 4 years, and she was retired military. And Addie said, my whole life was to protect and take care of my people when they transitioned to coming to this country. She said, my family all the way down has done that. And when I was talking to this woman about her family history, I said, my guide was telling me some odd things. And I said, she thinks she's related to you. She kind of has a strange name. She said, every generation has had someone with her name. And I hadn't told her the name. And she said, was her name Addie?
Wow. That's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Kipper, my dear, this is what I've got for you. So Nancy Jean was saying, look at how she's holding on to that heart all packaged up. This is the card of love, right? Embracing. It's the way she's holding the heart in her hands that makes me feel that this is, that's who you are. That's what you're about, right? You just want everyone to feel the love. And all the cards that I have say the same thing, which is really interesting. We have Archangel Jophiel. Whoops, where's the camera? And joy. Right? That's what you want. I mean, look, that image is absolutely stunning. Looks very much like the garden, really, when you think about it. Look at that, Nancy Jean. Love it. Right? Wanting to feel joy, express joy. We've got grace and gratitude. And the message on the bottom of that card is through gratitude, joy expands. So you've got love, joy, grace, and gratitude. And the last card that I've got, which I think is the most powerful, is this card here, which is the vast universe, which is picking up on what Nancy Jean said about, you are on a mission. You know what I mean? You are on a mission to do what you got to do and get the message out there and sort of swoop in and wrap your arms around everyone. And I think it's lovely. I feel like that's why I said I think I feel warm every time I read for you. It's just like I literally feel warmth in my body. That's so cool. I hope that you enjoyed it, and I appreciate you waiting all that time to get that. I hope it helps a little bit. Our last question of the day is for Miss Diana, oil painter. If there's time, I'd love a past life read, please. And thank you everyone else who came in and asked questions. Sorry, but we did have to close them. Nancy Jean we're just about.
I'm on 4 hours of reading now.
Yeah, I was trying to do the math in my head. That's a lot. But hopefully Nancy Jean can come back again soon. And visit, and you of course are welcome to join, or you can always go to Nancy Jean's channel and ask a question over there when she does her past life readings.
Yeah, all right. Yeah, and I always send out notices of when I'm going to be running shows. So
yeah.
And also, if you want, you can go over there. You can figure out how to get your own one-on-one on a Zoom meeting where we can sit and really talk about all this stuff. Okay. Well, oil painter, Diana, you've been a man more than you've been a woman in your past lives. And in this past life, I think this life you made the conscious decision of, I really screwed it up when I was in those times. So I'm going to come in as a woman this time. I'm going to build a firm foundation for myself. I'm going to find the people I really belong with. And you've had to make up for some of the garbage these guys left behind. So you've had some ups and downs. You've met soul partners you needed to clean the slate with. And now, girl, you're in the Wheel of Fortune. You are this life right now, girl, you just ride. Keep painting your beautiful paintings, but you're in great shape.
Sorry, I'm like picking up the same deck. I'm when you pick a card that is just like I could stop now, but I continued. So I will tell you that the first card that I got for you, Diana, is Currents of Emotions. So uncontrolled feelings. You know, we're just going to leave it there. Uncontrolled emotions, uncontrolled feelings. Then I pulled, sorry, my stomach is growling. I hope nobody can hear it over the camera. Good grief. We have Archangel Hanuel, or Angel Hanuel with willpower.
Haniel is my archangel.
Yes, I know that. So sweet. And the last card I got, and when I look at this card, this is what I think of. I mean, I happen to have the distinct honor of knowing Oil Painter. We have Invincible.
Yep.
I sort of feel like that right there sums you up, right? It doesn't matter whether you have the currents or, you know, the waves crashing around. You've got the willpower and the drive, and you just sort of go head on for the target, whatever the target might be. And I love that you do it with such a smile on your face as well.
Okay, I'm going to pick the oracle cards I'm going to use. The Language of Flowers.
Yes.
For everybody in the chat.
Diana says that makes sense as well. Kelly, Mom named me Diana for a reason. Right?
Goddess of the Moon.
That's it. I love those little cards, by the way.
I love them too.
How about, do you want me to how about I put us back to normal?
Okay.
There we go.
You can get rid of no, you can't get rid of the table.
No.
Yeah, you can. You know, do what you want. It is your channel, after all.
Thank you for helping me, though, Nancy. Because I don't often work with a table, so I need assistance.
This is really cool. You got the tuberose.
Nice.
And the tuberose is desire. And it says, be certain of where you place your passion. How many of the readings today were you've come back to pick a new passion, you've come back to get rid of something, so you're having to be focused.
I love it. And the card that I've got here is this outstanding, beautiful violet sort of color, and it is a light-filled angel is at your side.
Yep.
It watches over you at every dark doorway. And so I think those two cards go really well together.
Yep. Right.
That's awesome. Thank you, everyone, for being here. Please do make sure that you hit the thumbs up on the way out if you haven't already done so. Please do go check out my friend Nancy Jean's garden. Subscribe, check out her website, and hopefully you can contact her for a personal reading or a grid or anything else that she has on her website that you find interesting. Diana says she's getting chills. Mary says, Kelly, I have been following you since you first came on YouTube. Many times I lurk, but you have grown into one of the best out here. Aw.
She's very good. She gives me all sorts of credit. She came in under knowing tarot, but she didn't have a methodology of how to organize the cards in your head. So I just taught her what I'd been teaching people for 30 years on how to do that. And that's one of the things I'm hoping I can work out with Danny Shea. We can start to teach there's just a few basic elements. And if you go through those, you got it cut.
Thank you. You're going to make me cry, but thank you everyone for the kind compliments. I love what I do. And, I love you guys. And of course I love Miss Nancy Jean. So thanks everyone for being here. Thank you for hanging out with us. This has been another great sort of Sunday session. And until we see each other again, I wish you many blessings. When will I be back? I don't actually know. Yes, I do know. I will be back on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern for Tea Time with Ben from Beneficial Tarot. So I hope to see everyone for that. Okay. Mwah! Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.